The arrogance of man is taking crazy out of control. And not the other way around.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
Please. You can kill it.
Nobody trusts anybody now.
Come on, you hate. You want to live forever?
I got a really bad feeling about this.
Godzilla will live.
And welcome back to another episode of the Monster Movie Stompdown. Of course, you got your host, Sludge, here. Co-host sitting across from me.
It's the Lorax.
And you got the master in Texas.
Ruben, how's everybody doing?
We are here. Now, we just did our first episode back was Godzilla -1. And we're just going to throw another Godzilla at you because it came out back to back, really. We are doing Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. Or is it Godzilla Kong, The New Empire? Did you ever sort that out?
I've always X-Con, the new Kong.
That's X-Con, like, are we in Star Trek?
Godzilla X Kong on the official merchandise.
There you go. Well, because I had heard that Wingard was just calling it Godzilla Kong for a while. Like the X was just there, and so I wasn't sure. It don't matter to me. It's Godzilla Kong, New Empire. Godzilla X Kong, New Empire.
This one has the X on it too. So
the cup does.
I'm gonna go with the X. Yeah.
So we're going to pronounce the X is what we're going to do. So Godzilla X Kong.
There you go.
But that's the one we got for you, man. And we're pretty stoked about this one. Obviously, by the time you see this episode, everyone's been out to theaters to see it. So this is going to be a spoiler-full episode. You've had plenty of time to watch the movie. It is now on streaming when you listen to this episode. So if you haven't seen it and we spoiled it for you, too bad. That's your fault, not ours. But we are pretty stoked about this one. This movie, of course, came out recently, March 29th. Is when it came out. Again, directed by Adam Wingard, who did Godzilla vs. Kong. So this is a direct follow-up to it. Had some returning cast. Rebecca Hall returned back to this movie, as well as Kaylee Hoddle. Brian Tyree Henry's back. Then, of course, we got newcomer to the series. Not a newcomer to Adam Wingard's films, but Dan Stevens plays a fantastic character in this. In this, of course, we see Godzilla and Kong have to take on another duo of monsters to save the world. So here you go. Here's the trailer.
For centuries, there was harmony. The Titans were the guardians of nature, and the great apes became the protectors of humanity. We've discovered a signal. She can feel it. Kong, Godzilla, they can feel it too. Something is coming. Something even they're afraid of. You feel like going for a ride?
Thought you'd never ask.
Just try not to swallow your tongue.
What?
Oh my God!
Is that a mini Kong?
Oh my God.
That's not just a signal. That's a call for war. What is that?
Kong can't stop this on his own.
He won't be alone.
The last time those two met up, it was almost the end of Kong.
They don't have to like each other. They just have to work together.
Now I have seen everything.
We've made some minor augmentations.
Oh.
All right, so this one, of course, came out March 29th. And again, we talked about this as a direct sequel to Godzilla versus Kong, the follow-up to it. And man, this movie had we know like a $135 million budget, may have been close to 150 with all the, promotion material and stuff. And this one it's creeping now, because it's fixed, or no, I guess it just hit streaming, but it looked like it was going to be the highest of the MonsterVerse, but it's going to come in second. As of the time of this recording, it has made $547 million worldwide. So this has kicked the MonsterVerse well over $2 billion of a franchise. So there's going to be no question. We haven't heard it yet, but we know it's going to happen. Wingard wants to do a third film for his own trilogy. It's Monarch Legacy of Monsters was been greenlit for a second season, as well as spin-off series. With the way that this one did in theaters, there's going to be no question about it. They'll do a sequel. I mean, it makes too much money for Legendary, especially with this one that had the lowest budget of the entire MonsterVerse, and then almost the highest box office. Close. It had about 30 million to go for a box office run to beat Kong Skull Island. Right, Kong Skull Island was the top one, right, Ruben?
Yeah.
So
Skull Island.
Okay, that's what. Yeah, I thought it was Skull Island.
And it did 570.
Skull Island did 570 million is what it did.
Where was that?
571, 572. It's just a little over it. So, but this one was pretty close, man. And in this one, I mean, it is Godzilla and Kong, and Godzilla's in the top name. But Godzilla's kind of like he was in the Godzilla vs. Kong. This is more Kong centric of a film. So in this one, Kong is still trying to explore the Hollow Earth. Searching for more of his kind. There's some great scenes in it, man. It starts off with him running from a pack of what they call wart dogs, trapping them. You think they're chasing him, but he's really hunting them. It shows his intelligence big time, laying a trap for him. One of the best scenes too is, of course, he kills a few of them, but a few are still left, and they're coming, at him in this little alley, valley. And he picks up one of the dead ones and just lifts it over his head and rips it in half, and just blood pours all over him. And I'm just like, dude, that's beast. Of course, then they run away, and he's like, this is gross. Get an awesome cameo from Doug. That was great, man. But of course, Kong, as he's searching, he ends up running across or finding a new ape. As you see here, we've got Godzilla and Shimo and Suko and Doug. And so he meets little Suko. And Suko, when we first meet him, he's a little punk. And you come to find out that he's with a tribe of apes that have been locked away in the Hollow Earth, imprisoned. But due to Kong, his searching and running around has inadvertently opened a pathway to where they were imprisoned. So they're able to get out, and that's how they run into each other. Of course, Kong goes and takes Suko, and he gets jumped by 3 other apes. He wipes them like they're nothing. And it's actually a pretty cool scene, because that one he almost knocks him off a cliff. And then Kong, of course, being Kong, picks him up, to save him. He's like, hey, I'm not here to kill you. But then that ape tries to attack him again, and then he just straight up King Leonidas 300 just kicks him like, this is Sparta, just right off the cliff. It was awesome. But so he follows them back. And this is, to where they are living in prison deeper in the Hollow Earth. And this is where we meet the main villain, Skar King, who has control of these apes and, of course, control of another Titan named Shimo, who we find out through the lore in the movie is who created the last ice age. And we find out that these apes are actually imprisoned down there with Shimo because they try to do an uprising to go to the surface, to take over the world type deal. But Godzilla stopped them. on this. So, Kong has got to deal with this. Now they're trying to escape to get back to the surface world, and Kong can't do it alone. And so got to bring Godzilla in. And Godzilla, for the most part in this movie, he's kind of like just Thor's hammer. He's Mjolnir. You know what I mean? Like when the hammer needs to be brought down, they bring Godzilla in to lay down the hammer. You know what I mean? That's really what they do with Godzilla in this one. And Godzilla knows, though, just like before he knows something's going on, he knows what's happening. So as far as he goes, we first see him in Rome fighting Scylla, and he wakes up from a nap in the Colosseum, which is a great shot anyways. And he just immediately starts going on a mission. He goes down to or up to the polar ice caps to fight. Tiamat kills him and then sucks all of his energy from his lair to get the new evolved form that we have of him in the movie. Then, of course, by the time he gets evolved and is ready to roll, Kong knows he's got to get help. Kaylee Hoddle's character, Gia, and then they found a tribe of Iwis in Hollow Earth. They, got Mothra as their goddess. We get an awesome return of Mothra in this one, and she's actually done very well. And it's up to Gia, due to an old prophecy, to bring Mothra back and stop this apocalypse from happening. And so Kong, who's been beat up, but now he's got this cool, awesome power glove, goes up to Egypt or out through one of the portals to Egypt to get Godzilla. Godzilla's pissed as always when Kong shows up. They go toe to toe, and one of the, I think it's a hilarious scene. He manages with the beast glove to kind of knock Godzilla out for a moment. And then Godzilla kind of comes to, and Kong's got him like tail over shoulder, just like, look, if you ain't gonna listen, you're coming with me either way, But then of course they start to go at it again, and Mothra shows up, and Mothra's always been the one with Godzilla to be like, look, Godzilla realizes, yeah, we're gonna have to do this together. They go down to Hollow Earth, have an amazing anti-gravity fight with Skar King and Shimo and his armies. Of course, Suko's involved in the fight. At this point, Suko's turned. Is now full Kong.
The look on Kong's face, though, right there by the pyramids, when Godzilla,
the raised hands, like no. He's like,
that is just great.
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, because Kong in his own right is, he is an alpha, and he can take out some of the best. But the one-on-one with Godzilla, he knows he's like this ain't gonna fly.
That was just great. I love that.
So it was super good. Of course, the first fight's in Hollow Earth. They end up, getting to the surface. And of course, this entire time, Skar King has got control of Shimo from a crystal. And they manage to get the crystal out of Skar King's hand. Shimo manages to break the crystal with Kong's axe, and freeze Shimo. And then it's over, dude. At that point, because Godzilla's taking care of Shimo while Kong's going toe to toe with Skar King. Once he loses control of Shimo, and Shimo realizes, she's free, they freeze freaking Skar's rear end, and then Kong just obliterates him to millions of pieces. It's fantastic. And then Godzilla and Kong kind of give each other a look like, yeah, we did it again. It's what we do. It's that Riggs and Murtaugh of Lethal Weapon, moment.
Yeah.
We got that in the previous film, Godzilla versus Kong, because Lethal Weapon is Wingard's favorite film. And when Kong gets back up to go help Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, you get that pretty sweet scene where he takes his shoulder and slams it against the building to put it back in socket. Yeah, totally Riggs, But you get those moments in this one where you see that was the moment, that look they gave each other, that smirk type deal. It's like, that's Riggs and Murtaugh, And then they go back, Kong goes back with Suko and Shimo to, we assume, release the apes that are in Hollow Earth. Godzilla goes back to take a nap in the Coliseum, and then we're ready to roll for whatever comes next. Action-packed movie. I'll start this one off because I want to. And I've already ran my mouth describing it anyways.
You've done good.
Yeah. So it is absolutely action-packed. This movie, there's more monster scenes than there is human scenes. And I think Wingard finally listened, and he knew what he needed to do. You get 8-10 minutes of just pure Kong and Godzilla and those guys, like no humans, and you don't need it. By, especially with Kong being more human of a character, what he's getting across. You kind of know what he's saying. the interactions with Shima. I mean, one of my favorite parts is when he's fighting the 3 apes, when he first sees Suko, and he just picks Suko up by the leg and just starts smacking these apes around with Suko. And I was like, that's fantastic, man. Like, just using the punk as a weapon. So the interactions are really, really good. With the monsters in this, the human characters, I mean, they're great. They do what they need to do. Brian Henry and Dan Stevens, who Dan Stevens, of course, is Kong's vet. He's a Titan vet. You know what I mean? And Kong has got a jacked up tooth, and Dan Stevens replaces it with a metal one. But the interactions between Brian and Dan are phenomenal in it, and Gia and Rebecca have got their own struggles they're dealing with. Gia doesn't know where she fits at in the world. Rebecca doesn't want to lose her, but realize she might have to. There's just enough human stories to keep you going to the next monster scene, but it's perfectly paced. Of course, Skar King is absolutely diabolical. Like when you first see him, I mean, he rules with an iron fist of just pure evil. You can tell. When we first meet him, he goes to attack Suko because Suko's brought Kong here, and we assume it's Suko's mother gets in front of him, and Skar King kind of walks away, then looks at Kong and just gives Kong this side eye, and then smirks and then kicks Suko's mom right into a big lake of lava, killing her. I mean, dude, he's just pure diabolical. And then you get that first fight with Kong and Skar King, an introduction to Shimo, and it's the monster fights are great, man. Because I feel like this time you didn't get just a monster fight; you got monster stories. We're used to when we see a Godzilla film, so even some Kong films, Gamma, whatever, the monsters show up to fight or destroy stuff. Now the monsters are here to act, like they got a story to tell. And Wingard did a phenomenal job telling that story through the monsters without any humans. And that's fantastic to me. That makes me go back and think of, you think of old silent films, where you have no dialogue, and you think of scenes in Metropolis where you got the cue cards every so often that's got dialogue. But when you watch those movies like Metropolis or Phantom of the Opera or Lost World, you've got so much that has to be done through the emotion and physical characters expressions to get across, what's going on, even in Nosferatu. And it's like Wingard went back to that and handled it super well. The storytelling was great. It was a really good story. The CGI was fantastic. The monsters are great. Godzilla's evolved form is just boss. All the extra Titans we get to see, Scylla, Tiamat, that big massive snake Kong fights, which is a total throwback to the 76 Kong. I mean, I think, I don't know, but Ruben, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I 100% agree. You just stole one of my talking points.
My bad on that one. I'll let you get it more into that one. So the detail, right. But everything about it was great, and to me, the best part, the two best parts of the film was, even though this was a Kong-centric film, and Wingard has stated if he does a third film, it will be like this, but roles reversed. It's going to be Godzilla-centric, because he's already stated now that these two have been on screen, you can't not have them on screen together. So the next one will be much more Godzilla-centric story wise. So I hope he does that. But what I loved about Godzilla in this one is he was Mjolnir. He was just like, or he was like Thor more than anything else. That moment in Avengers where they're getting their butts kicked, in Wakanda, and then they're like, there's nothing they could do, and then Thor shows up out of nowhere and he's like, bring me Thanos, that's Godzilla. Like, he's there and he's just there to smack people around. Yep. He rips monsters apart and just lays the law down. And so that was really cool about Godzilla. But the Kong stuff was fantastic. This was the first time I watched a Kong movie and was like, man, I'm loving Kong a lot. And the story between him and Suko, I thought was fantastic. Like the last bit of when you see them at the end in Hollow Earth, and Suko's on his shoulder, I'm just like, yeah, screw Son of Kong. This is it right here. You know what I mean? Like, this is what Son of Kong should have been. So I thought it was great. Thought the characters were great. My only complaint, and the soundtrack. the colors and soundtrack. This movie was a Showa era love letter again. You know what I mean? Like big time 70s and 80s. Colors scream 70s and 80s. The soundtrack was phenomenal. Like the moment I started hearing 80s synth, I was like, dude, Wingard, you're my hero. Like there was almost nothing I didn't enjoy about this film except Skar King. Even though Skar King was very diabolical, my problem with Skar King, and I think this is probably things that were cut from the editing room floor, they should have gave him about maybe 8 more minutes of film. He just didn't seem, even though he was super diabolical, he didn't seem like a major world-ending threat like Ghidorah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or even like Mechagodzilla. Like I felt like Skar King, even though he was diabolical and very cool, he was kind of a step down as a villain. And I didn't like that. You know what I mean? Like we need to constantly step up. Now, of course, it's super hard. I mean, you know, the first Godzilla film with other monsters you get in the Monsterverse, it's Ghidorah. Like, you know, Doherty just went big and went home. He said, screw it, man. Let's do it, you know? And then, you know, with Wingard, with Godzilla vs. Kong, how do you top Godzilla's second biggest villain other than Mechagodzilla? And then you got Kong thrown in the mix. So you got the big, you know, Godzilla Kong battle, which is probably the biggest monster battle in history. And then you throw in his second biggest villain of all time. You really got to step up the game for the villain in this one. If this was just a straight Godzilla film or Kong film, then maybe, you know what I mean? A one-on-one with Skar King would have been cool. Yeah. But you got Godzilla and Kong in the mix. Like, that was my only complaint. Was Skar King, as cool as he was, because he was extremely diabolical. You know what I mean? Like when he puts his finger in Kong's mouth, just poking fun of him at his tooth, and then just starts laughing. I was like, dude, I mean, he was a prick is what he was, you know, like he really was. And I like the character, but I like Skar King as a villain, but he just is not the level that I think what the film needed. He needed to be more, you know, and maybe if they gave him more time, more storytelling or something for it, or you know, to up the ante, then maybe it would have been a little bit better. But that's my only complaint about it. But I mean, I can go. This one was a lot of fun, but I'll turn us off to you guys. Whoever wants to go next, Ruben.
Sure, I'll go next. I love the film because you mentioned a lot of my talking points. You've already mentioned it's a Showa era type atmosphere. I would say, like you were talking about the overall saturation of colors and things like that. It was a very colorful film. And I agree with you. Skar King, it's so funny because Godzilla was gearing up for Skar King more than he geared up for King Ghidorah.
Yeah.
From King of the Monsters, it seems like he was going down and recharging 85 style, I might add.
Yeah, I forgot. You're okay. Okay, yeah. So touche. I took your 76. You can take my 84 reference. My bad. You just won that one.
Good job. Good job.
He
Ruben
goes and sucks down a nuclear plant, 85 style, you know, and I'm like, he's gearing up for this battle. And the whole time I'm thinking is like, sure, you know, Kong went head to head with the Skar King and got his butt handed to him, basically, where he needed his bionic arm. That was the only way. Well, actually,
I mean,
Skar King didn't do that. Shimu really did that.
Yeah.
That was, you know, without Shimu, Skar King's even weaker. So I found it kind of funny, which it didn't quite fit, that Godzilla was gearing up for like a battle that really, when you think about it, Skar King, it was Godzilla and him one-on-one without Shimu. If you put in Shimu, then maybe you got something going there, but Godzilla could have taken him one-on-one and not ended up with a bionic arm like Kong did.
Yeah.
So I thought that was that quite didn't fit like I thought, because like you said, he's an evil guy, but he's more like, you know, you got King Ghidorah and then he's more like, you know, Gigan or,
yeah, I can see that.
I wouldn't even put him. Yeah, I wouldn't put him with Mechagodzilla, King Ghidorah. So I'm trying to think of a Godzilla villain that would fit. And because even Destroya, Orga, all of those, you know, I'm like Gigan, you know, Megalon, all those, you know, the sea monster. All I'm like easy money for Godzilla. You know, even though in the movies they gave him a quick fight, and that's what I like too about this Showa. Is the hero or heroes, the hero being Kong in this one, took a beating. And if you remember in the Showa era, Godzilla always comes up the first time and somehow they get the best of him. And then he comes back and finishes the job strong. Yep. And that's what they did on this one is they said, okay, well, we're going to, you know, Kong's going to get a beating. So he's going to go get help. And I also like, because to me, I don't know about you guys, to me, it was a surprise to see Mothra. Because I didn't even know Mothra was going to be in this one until I saw it on the screen.
Yeah, well, so that was a surprise. I'm not going to say it was a huge surprise for me. And I'm sorry to interrupt. I'll just be quick, Ruben. Is Mothra originally wasn't supposed to be in the film. The role Mothra had was actually another original Titan for the MonsterVerse called Fospera. And it was an Egyptian Titan. And it didn't have wings. It was kind of a bird, almost like a fairy type monster. There's images of it out there. But it was Fospera, and that originally was the Titan that was supposed to be in there. The first test screenings, it was unanimous. Everyone hated Fospera, and everybody that test screen said, bring back Mothra. And so that's what they did. They just took out Fospera and brought Mothra back.
Amanda, she looked bad.
Oh, yeah. Smarter choice.
But Mothra makes a lot more sense with the human storyline.
Yep. Yeah. Agreed.
She goes back, and there's a tribe, and all. I'm like, it made perfect sense that Mothra, to me, if they would have done it the other way, I would have been like, where's this coming from? When, you know, it's Mothra that really makes more sense. So I really like that. The actual, I guess the way they put it together was very Showa, and I like that about that. I also like the little throwback to the 76 with the fight with the, you know, snake-like creature or whatever.
Oh yeah,
that was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was great. You know, and you know me, I'm a big fan of the 76 movie. So, I mean, to me, it was like great. You know, you ask Cindy, there was plenty of times during the movie that I'm like, yes, and yeah, and all right, you know, because it was all, it all hit home for me as far as my childhood and growing up and seeing all this on the screen. It was, you know, and that's because King of the Monsters had, you know, all this stuff going on, just like Showa, but this one, for some reason, hit a little bit closer to the Showa era and what I grew up watching.
This one felt
King
like
of the Monsters.
This one felt like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like King of the Monsters was the early 60s Showa era. So, you know, Mothra versus Godzilla through like, well, Mothra versus Godzilla, Ghidorah 3 of the Monsters, Invasion of the Astro Monster. Like, it's those three films where this one felt more like, you know, Son of Godzilla through Godzilla versus Mega Godzilla, like the 70s.
And I'll even say a little Final Wars vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
From it too. A little Final Wars vibe I got from it too. Because when I saw it and I came out of it, I was reminded of the Showa era, and I was reminded of Final Wars, which was Toho trying to relive that Showa era.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way I see it. I think Final Wars to me was Toho trying to revive that Showa era one last time for everybody to enjoy. And of course, they threw in a lot of Matrix and all that other good, you know, modern stuff that they didn't need to. But I think that was Toho's attempt at trying to give you back that. But this one actually came a lot closer than Final Wars. I love Final Wars, but this one came a lot closer to what I enjoyed about the Showa era. And as always, I like the little throwbacks they threw here and there. The soundtrack was great. Love that. And there was nothing really. I mean, the only thing I will say, it was, which you mentioned, it was, should have been called, what I would have done is called it Kong X Godzilla, and then the sequel, Godzilla X Kong.
Yeah, that would have been the way to go.
That would have been perfect, because I don't know what they're going to do on the next one, because this was a Kong movie. This was a Kong movie, but he got some extra help, you know, not extra help. He got the big bully to come down and take care of everything.
Yeah, he did.
You know, that's what it was. You know, the big, you know, my bodyguard. He goes, I got somebody. I'm going to go. And it's funny in the movie, Kong's like, what am I going to do? Hey, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get the guy that nearly destroyed me one time and get him to help me. And also the throwback to the Astro Monster was Mothra convincing Godzilla, hey man, we need to work together. It reminded me of that little conversation in Astro Monster where they're trying to convince each other to to work together. Mothra's trying to convince them all, and they're all fighting, Rodan and Godzilla, and they're all fighting. They don't want to protect Earth, that they're mean to them and all that other good stuff. So that reminded me of that a little bit. But I was very pleasantly surprised by Mothra showing up. It was one of the moments I'm like, all right, But I will say this film is totally opposite, and not in a bad way or good way. It's just totally opposite of -1. -1 was a dead serious movie, where this one is a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of fun to watch.
Agreed.
They were both great, but they're two types of movies, two different. They're both Godzilla, but they're two different movies altogether. And you can't compare the two because it's just a different movie. -1 was a masterpiece. This one was a whole lot of fun and everything a Godzilla movie should be, and a Kong movie, I guess you want to say, but everything a monster movie should be. Very kid friendly, except for the bloody parts, but at least they made the blood green.
Yeah.
They made the blood green, but I'm like, boy, this is Mecha Godzilla type movie I'm watching here. So your comparison to the later show era, it's right on the money, because those are the ones that got a little bit more bloodier.
Yeah, they just took
the Mecha Godzilla.
They just took a cue from Gamera this time around. You know what I mean? So instead of the red blood, let's go Gamera style, make it green, purple, whatever.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I like that because it made it. What I could say is, now you can take a 7-year-old to see it and he'd have fun with it.
Yeah.
Or you take a 7-year-old to see -1, he might still enjoy it, but he's not going to understand what he's watching. He's going to enjoy the visual of it, but he's not going to understand it was very symbolic. There was a lot of symbolism in -1. So I think this one is in a fun direction and for the better. It's good. I really like it. It got a Stompdown rating based on how much fun it was for me. So I'm going to hand it over to Mark now.
And just going on with what Ruben's talking about, I think -1 was more a human side of it.
Yeah.
And Godzilla being the evil villain, and where Legendary has done a fantastic job, in my opinion, making it all about the monsters. From Godzilla to Kong, to Mothra, all the monsters that they have brought in and they have used, that's the focus. And I think that's where Legendary has done a fantastic job. And like you're saying, it's more of a kid-friendly, more of a fun atmosphere type, like that will get the adrenaline pumping, and you're really fired up about it. And it does hit. He hits a lot of areas, from the soundtrack, from the music, touching the eras that affects us, that style of music. And, and, the CGI is just out of this world. They're just, it's phenomenal, what they're doing. And, to me, you can't compare, like you're saying, -1 and Godzilla X Kong. And you shouldn't even try, and you should just go out there and enjoy it and take it for what it is. And what it is for everybody from back in 1954 that saw the first one, hey, get everything you can out of -1. But boy, this new Legendary stuff, it's new and going into areas that we've not been in, Hollow Earth and such. And so where Godzilla's going through Legendary, I think, is just phenomenal. And you guys have pretty much said everything. Great movie. Fantastic.
Well, yeah, absolutely awesome movie. And let's just jump right to it, man. It's Stompdown rating time. All right, so this one, I gave it a slightly lower rating than you guys, but we still rated it super high.
Okay.
So just like -1 got a 5, this one got a 5 from us.
Yes.
So, is it the best? I'm still going to say it's, it's not my No, I don't know. It's not it's the most fun of the MonsterVerse. There's no question.
Yeah.
Of all the MonsterVerse films, this is the most fun, and I think that's why it is. Because you guys, we gave it a 5 all the way overall. You guys both gave it a 5, solid 5. I gave it a 4.5, only because of Skar King. You know what I mean? Like, that was my only thing. Like, you gotta up the ante with the villains every time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
Godzilla always did that.
But the soundtrack had Kiss. Come on, that's
Yeah.
got to be worth at least a quarter point.
Well, I mean, that's true. The soundtrack was killer.
Yeah, it was off
But-
of Dynasty. It was off of Dynasty, but it was still Kiss.
Well, okay, yeah, it was off of Dynasty. So, like I said, a step down, you know what I mean, seems to be a little bit of a problem Wingard was having. That was my only complaint. But to me, if it was like, you know what I mean, if Shima wasn't as intimidating, not a big deal. But your main antagonist, you've got to step up the ante every time. You know what I mean? Like, you look at any movie series, you look at Die Hard, man, that's the one problem with Die Hard 2 versus every other Die Hard. You know what I mean? The villain in Die Hard 2, that general, honestly, even though he was way more of a fighter and action-packed, he was a step down from Hans Gruber. You know what I mean? Like, and they had to up the ante. You know what I mean? So, and that's why Lethal Weapon, every time Lethal Weapon came out, it was better because the villain was better. You look at, you know, the Terminators, well, 1 and 2. I mean, like, you know, the villains, your villain has got always up the ante. So that was one thing for me. To me, it was big enough to give it a 0.5 point knockoff. But other than that, I mean, it's still a solid 5 from us. So,
Definitely.
if you haven't seen it, you've got to see it. I'm assuming everybody's already seen it. But from us at the Stompdown crew, 5 stomps, most fun, most enjoyable, most entertaining of the legendary movies, I think, by far. Would y'all agree with that?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
As far as that one, Ruben?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Matter of fact, I guess, I mean, I've always told you guys Skull Island has always been my favorite, right?
Mm-hmm.
That of all of them, you know, there's King of the Monsters, but now that you've seen all the legendary, I'm going to give y'all a hard question because it's going to hurt feelings. Which one is your least favorite of the legendaries?
Mark, you want to go first on that one?
Ooh.
Least favorite?
Least favorite.
Least favorite. I'm not going to ask you what the best is, but I'm going to ask you what your least favorite is.
Well, probably in I know it's going to raise the hair on the back of your neck, Ruben, but I'm thinking to me, my least favorite is Skull Island.
Okay.
Really?
I'm Godzilla all the way. Always have
yeah.
been. I always have been. And so when I look at all these, you know, it's great how they brought Kong in. And it's not that I don't like it. I'm not saying I don't like it by any means. I do like it. I thought it was a good movie.
Well, yeah, but I'd say it's your least favorite because it's hard to say.
Yeah.
It just depends. That's why I phrase it at least favorite, only because to say a legendary movie is bad it would be a lie.
Right.
Because it's none of them are bad.
So that's where I would be at on it. I mean, I am from the first legendary Godzilla movie that come out in 14.
Mm-hmm.
I've been behind it ever since.
Man, that's a tough question, Ruben. Least favorite, because I'm thinking, I'm like, man, like,
because you're gonna feel guilty whatever you say. You're not gonna like your own answer because you're gonna have to say one of them is your least favorite.
Yeah, because I mean, there's elements to each one that I didn't like. And so I'm like, well, what elements? Well, no, there's one that there's no elements I didn't like about it. But, I mean, King of Monsters is still my favorite of this series by far. But, least favorite, man, that's tough. And, man,
Make it easier for you.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Get it out. Get it off.
This is going to get me stoned. Like, without question, I think this is going to get me stoned. I'm going to have to say my least favorite. Man, this is going to get me. I don't even want to say it. Godzilla, the first one, the 2014, only because, man, like that's hard to say, dude. Like that
when you compare it to the whole catalog, unfortunately, it's good. But I agree with you 100%. That was going to be my choice. 2014 is my choice, not because it's bad, but
nothing. Yeah, because it's great, and it has nothing to do with Godzilla. Because one, I still like the way Gareth did that one at the human level. When you see the monsters, nobody in the legendaries films have still done that yet. You know what I mean? Like he nailed it. Like his shots were phenomenal. The fights were freaking great. The final blow to the female Muto, to me, you know, when he blows the fire down her breath.
Oh yeah.
That's still the best kill in the entire Monsterverse. The reason why I would have to put it as my least favorite is Aaron Taylor Johnson and the fact that they killed off, you know, Bryan Cranston. The moment they kill off Bryan Cranston and Aaron, who is a good actor, but he just did not carry that film. Like the entire human element fell apart that entire second half. And that hasn't happened in any of the other films. So that would be, even though like not the Godzilla stuff at all, not the first half of the movie at all. I was
saying that, yeah.
It's that second half, the entire human element just fell to crap, in my opinion. But of course, you know, you got the monsters fighting, so you don't really think about it. But because of that never happened in any of the other films. That's why it would have to be my least favorite. Again, amazing movie and started this entire thing, but that's why that would be my least favorite. Would be that one right there. What about you, Ruben? What's your least favorite?
All I'm going to say is how dare y'all crap on none of them. I'm not going to. No, I'm just kidding. 2014 is
it's like none of the least favorite.
It is. I'll say, how dare y'all do that? Okay, it's the end of the show, guys. Because really, I thought about this, and I'm like, man, having seen the whole, you know, there's got to be one in last place. Like if you were to rank them, right?
Right.
And to say which is your favorite, that's kind of easy, right? Because it would be King of the Monsters or this one, right? Me, I might put, but I would say King of the Monsters, Skull Island is still one of my favorites, but I like this one a lot. But so I thought the question would be harder to answer, saying, okay, now which is your least favorite? Because it puts everybody on the spot. So,
well, we just
came up.
We just need to put everybody on the spot, and everybody out there listening and watching.
Yeah.
Give us
there you go.
Feedback on that. You know, which is your least favorite of the legend?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. When you listen to this one, let us know what's your least favorite and which is your favorite of these ones. So, because they all got their moments, man. Like, you know, Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
I'd actually probably put Godzilla versus Kong either right at Kong Skull Island or maybe even below it, honestly. Because I just think Kong might be a little bit better of a film, but then you got that moment, man, that moment when Godzilla, you know, Megagodzilla's about to, you know, presumably take down Godzilla and Kong grabs him from out of nowhere. The theater erupted. People were screaming in theaters in that moment. You're never going to replace that. You know what I mean? Like, and just that whole fight scene of them together was top notch. They all have their moments, you know what I mean? But you all
they're all good, but believe me, it's tough. You know, totally unrelated topic. But I always do that at parties. You know, especially if I'm around Kiss fans or something. I'm like, all right, who's a better drummer, Peter Criss or Eric Carr?
Oh, if you're that guy. So
we know who the better drummer is, but I dare you, but nobody wants to say it out loud.
Peter Criss. There's no question. But all right, man. Well, that's it for Godzilla and Kong as far as the review, the Stompdown rating. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But I'm sure you all have seen it. Make sure and do let us know what's your least favorite of the Monsterverse films, and then what's your favorite. But as of now, it's everyone's favorite part of the show. It's time to test your might.
Test your might. Test your might. Test your might. Test your might. Test your might.
All right, so it is, before we get started on this round of trivia, Mark, we got to know Ruben picked a fantastic movie for you to watch last time with Bog.
Yeah, I think that was.
Let's hear about Bog.
Well, I think I was double teamed there. I think Pete had a little bit of involvement there.
Not a little bit. Pete was. He said, if Mark loses, make sure to give him this movie. No, he did say that, but Pete is very. He's very how he loves to share bad movies. A good old
yes,
Pete.
yes.
So he
Well,
texted me that movie, and I'm like, you know what? This is going to be the one.
You know,
I've had it in my pocket for a while.
the good
So
beer.
I figured you'd enjoy it.
Good. What is it? Good beer, bad movie night.
Yep.
Well,
Good
I
beer.
needed
Yeah,
a
there you go.
lot of beer because it was a seriously bad movie night. I think they probably, I don't know, their budget. I think I checked. Maybe it was $150. I don't know. It was a little 8mm camera shot in the backwoods of somewhere. I have no idea where they were even at. I think they were in Wisconsin's where
I think so.
where I figured it out was, but it was the worst acting. There was nothing good about it. I mean, it was just absolutely terrible. And I probably had a few choice words for Pete as I'm setting through the movie. But I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It really didn't have a lot of, I don't know, storyline to it.
No,
From the get go, it was some backwoods guy throwing dynamite in a pond, and that's how he was trying to catch fish, and it woke up a monster, and you've been there, done that kind of deal. And once the monster was woke up, then he wants to go through the whole town and kill everybody and do that nice little deal. So, very bad movie. I gave it a -2 Stompdown because it's one of the worst. It's one of the worst trivia movies I've had to watch, and I've had to watch a few that I think I've seen. It was bad, very bad.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this one.
This
I'm
is a direct
Plex.
quote
It was
from
rough.
Pete. Oh my goodness, the bog is awful. Put it on your list to torture. He put Sludge, but poor Marcus ended end up watching it.
Well, they weren't torturing me. I mean, like if I'd have watched it, then I'd have been tortured because, like I said, I've seen this one before.
Oh man.
And I don't know why I put it on the Plex, but I'm glad I did now because you ended up having to watch it. So
it was just absolutely terrible.
All right, let's jump into it, man. It's trivia time. Again, we want to thank the one and only Kurt Harbor for helping us with trivia. And we will get started on this one. Let's see what we got. So Kurt's first question is, this is interesting. How many English language Godzilla movie novelizations have there been? They've done the novel for this, novel for Godzilla Kong. So it's A, 7, B, 4, or C, 6. So how many English language Godzilla movie novelizations have there been? A, 7, B, 4, or C, 6?
Y'all study all
English
that?
language.
Nope.
Thanks, Kurt.
I'm going to think here.
I'm guessing on this one. So it's what it is 4, 7, or what?
A is 7, B is 4, or C is 6.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay, I'm taking a guess.
I'm
thinking.
I'm guessing too.
Yeah,
taking a guess at that one. I think actually I'm right. I'm guessing. Okay. Are we ready for the next one?
Go for it.
Number 2, there are 4 classic rock jams in Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. Can you name them? This is not a yes or no question. Ruben, you actually have to name them. Golly.
Are you kidding me?
What name? I mean, what was that? How many?
Name all 4 of them?
There are 4 classic rock jams in Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. Can you name them? This is not a yes or no question. Ruben, you actually have to name them.
Oh man.
I know them. I know 2 at least, right off the top of my head. But I know 3 off the top of my head, so I'm doing all right.
Let's see. I know 2.
Oh, I know them. I got it. I already got it.
Yeah, trivia's coming to me again.
Well, you know one of them because we just talked about it.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. Okay. Everybody good on that one?
I'm not good, but go on.
Okay. All right. So Number 3. What monster might Titanus Doug be related to? There's a bonus question. Sorry, I just saw that below it. So what monster might Titanus Doug be related to? A, skull crawlers, B, Godzilla, or C, the Ion Dragon? Do you know what the Ion Dragon is?
No.
Ruben, do you know what the Ion Dragon is?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, the Ion Dragon is the monster that Godzilla fights in the Monarch series. So that's what that one is.
Oh,
So-
okay. So say the question again.
What monster
'Cause I was-
might
Okay.
What monster might Titanus Doug be related to? A. Skullcrawlers, B. Godzilla, or C. the Ion Dragon? And there's Doug right there. If anyone needs
Yeah.
to look and try and figure out,
Yeah,
some
there's
look,
Doug
you know.
right there, but he's all yeah.
Oh, well.
Take a guess on it.
I think it's pretty easy there.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I have an idea, but you know.
Bonus question time. We ready
Go
for bonus
for it.
question? Why is he
there's
called?
a bonus. All right.
Yeah. Why is he called Skar King? A. Chicks dig scars. B.
Yeah.
He's super good at giving scars. Or C. Nobody has ever asked him that before. Maybe that's part of why he's so angry. Nobody has ever taken the time to really get to know him, and that just kind of hurts. I mean, on the inside, he's just a sad kid, really. Sure, on the outside, he's an evil-looking, scabrous orangutan, but inside, he's just a sad, scared little ape. A, B, or C. I'm going to go
I'm
with.
good.
Oh, my
What?
God.
No, Gamera is.
Gamera's
friend of
not
all
an answer.
children?
Friend of all children's not an answer.
Yeah.
So A, chicks dig
Or-
scars. B, he's super good at giving scars. Or C, he's
That
just
long-
a sad little ape on the inside. All right,
I think-
we ready for?
You know, I'm just going to tell you my I think chicks dig scars, so that's what I think.
That's why I did with that one too. So, all right, we ready for the answers?
Go for it.
Number one, how many English language Godzilla movie novelizations have there been? Correct answer was A, 7.
I had no
Yes.
He
idea.
lists them out, and I knew I was right by him.
I've missed every one of these.
Which ones did you? I have to kind of go through the list,
So, of course, the entire MonsterVerse. So you got Godzilla,
right?
King
There's
of Monsters,
four right
four
there.
there.
Godzilla,
That's
the
where
Sony
I was.
TriStar 1, 98.
right? And then one more.
That's
yeah.
5.
Then the one I thought was 85, maybe because of
Wait,
so much
no,
of this
so it
video.
is.
You're counting the Sony TriStar anything?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you
Really?
don't have to. I knew Kurt would.
Kurt's
No,
that's
dude.
Kurt's famous
Hey, hey,
favorite
Mark,
movie too.
Mark,
isn't it?
must be it.
Mark, he
yeah.
he has the novel. He has
No,
the-
I do
Oh,
not
you
have
got
the
it.
novel.
You got it.
I
Ah,
do not have
yes.
the novel. I do
Yes,
not
that's how
own it.
he knew
Yes.
that.
Nope,
novel.
I've never
Come on,
read a
really?
Godzilla
Yes.
movie novel ever. But the other two, and he listed here, I was correct on, is the Shigeru they just released it, is the novelization for 54 and Godzilla Raids Again this past
Oh,
year.
that's right.
They released those
See,
in
and
English.
I mean, I got the number right, but instead of Raids Again, I thought it was a 1985.
Yeah.
'Cause
Oh,
remember,
you
it,
got
I mean,
the
it was a
So
publicity.
you got the Sony one too.
Yep. That's what he said.
That's what you
Yeah,
just said, right
yeah,
there,
yeah,
Ruben?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I see where you guys are at.
So now you're on the Sony bandwagon, Ruben.
So it should have been
That's what you
6 the whole
Four?
time.
Oh yeah, no,
Should have been 6.
I knew
So
it.
you guys
Yeah.
go right ahead. Go ahead.
I have the novel.
You heard it out there. You heard it right here.
did. All right. Number 2. There are 4
Let's see,
classic
this-
rock
yeah.
jams, and I know I got this wrong because I only got 2. There are 4 classic rock jams in Godzilla X Kong the Empire. Can you name them? And the 4 are Twilight Zone by Golden Earring.
Yep.
No idea about
Yep.
that one. I Was Made for Loving You
No,
by
you
Kiss.
have. You heard
Yeah.
that one.
I got that
Heard
one.
it.
Turn Me Loose by Loverboy.
Got that one.
Great song. I love
And
it.
then Day After Day by Badfinger. That one I remembered. So I only got 2 of the 4.
Well, it doesn't matter.
You don't count Kiss? It's a hard rock band.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I Was Made
Oh,
for
said
Loving
Kiss?
You.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I Was Made for
Yeah.
Loving You and Day After Day. I remembered those 2, but I've just totally spaced on Twilight Zone or Turn Me Loose.
Oh, I thought you had those. Okay,
Which is
no, I knew about
ridiculous because now,
Twilight Zone,
yes, I remember
Loose.
Turn Me Loose being in there.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to remember the scene that Twilight Zone was in. What scene was that? I'll have to go back and watch it. But anyway, so Ruben, you got that one. I didn't get that one.
Yeah.
So I didn't get all 4.
I got Loverboy, Turn Me Loose, Golden Earring, Twilight Zone, Kiss, I Was Made for Loving You, Badfinger, Day After Day.
You got it.
Dang.
On it.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3. What monster might Titanus W related to? B. Godzilla.
That's it.
I didn't know. I had no idea what he was trying to pull there.
What'd you put?
See,
Ion Dragon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Only because I didn't think it was. Yeah, it doesn't happen.
All right. Bonus question was, why does he call Skar King? A, chicks dig scars.
I wanted to
Yeah,
see
there you go.
that long.
That one, I know. I really wanted that one too. I was
That's the one that.
I was kind of rooting for that one, but I was like, nah.
Well, I think Kurt's wrong. It is C.
Well, yeah, it is C.
C.
That's what it is. He's just a sad little ape on the inside.
Yeah.
All right. So I got 3 out of 4.
I'm over 3. Pick my movie.
Wait, you got how many did you get right?
I got
Over
3.
3.
Oh,
I got
You got how
3
many?
also. I missed. I got Iron Dragon for number 3.
okay.
Oh,
Okay.
oh.
So 3 and 3.
Oh.
You go for 3.
Oh, well,
All right. Well, if he picked Bog the last time, I'm going to pick one this time for him. And man, what do I want to give?
I want to give.
You know what? I'm going to go easy on him. I don't know. You may have seen this one actually. Have you ever
Bring it.
watched Octoman?
Octoman. You say Aquaman?
Octoman. Octaman.
No, I have not.
All right. It is on the Plex. Most people probably have no idea about it. It actually makes a sweet little cameo scene in Gremlins 2. But actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Mystery Science Theater 3000 did an episode on Octoman. If not
Octoman.
them, then it was the Riff Tracks guys. But
Okay.
yeah, Octoman
Octoman.
is your movie.
Octoman.
So I think that will be pretty good. Won't be as bad as Bog. I can tell you that.
Well,
like
I'll tell you
it's
what,
not going to be as bad
Bog
as Bog.
that was bad.
But this one should be interesting. So
he didn't get 3. How many did he get?
0.
I thought it was a 3. You didn't get any of them. Not even
No,
the hard
no.
rock ones.
No.
Well,
I
see,
couldn't remember what-
we didn't get, like I didn't get.
I didn't get all 4 songs.
Yeah, I didn't. So that's the one I got wrong because I
Oh,
only
okay, I got you.
Yeah,
I got
I didn't.
you.
I
So
didn't
there's no
pick up all
partial
4.
credit. I got you.
So, but all right. Well, man, there
And
we
it's
go.
funny because I went ahead and looked it up, and those are the only 4 hard rock songs.
Are they
All
really?
the rest are, everything else is different. It's not what I consider hard rock. Because I was a little worried. I'm like, well, maybe Kurt doesn't consider I Was Made for Loving You as a hard rock song. And I'm like, and I'm going to miss it. But I was not going to put.
Well, I was
Kiss
considering
on there,
Kiss
so
hard rock, so it had to be.
A lot of people call it disco. That's why I was a little concerned about it. Kurt Harper might be one of those guys.
Well, even though Dynasty was Dynasty, I'm not calling it disco. Like I'm not going to do that.
It was weak.
Yeah,
Definitely weak.
Well, Dynasty. If you take I Was Made for Loving You and listen to the rest of it, it's not a bad album. I mean, when's the last time y'all heard Dynasty?
Hey, man, it's been a while.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
yeah. Like I don't know if I'd go for that for saying that, but I mean, to each his
it's not a
own.
bad album. I mean, you got Save Me. I mean, you got a lot of good stuff on there. Dirty Living's on. I mean, it's.
I'll tell you right now, it's not
Peter Criss
Destroyer.
is nice.
Oh no, there's
not
nothing's
Destroyer at all.
Destroyer. Nothing
Yeah.
is Destroyer. That's it for Kiss for me.
It's just
But
the way that is. the way
we could
that
talk
works.
about that for a while.
I'm actually a Hotter Than Hell guy. I like Hotter Than Hell
Wow,
better than
good one.
Wow,
That's
I mean,
my
that's a
favorite
good one.
Kiss
I put that 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean for sure. But all right, well, man, well, there you go, guys. That was Godzilla and Kong, or Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. So hope you guys enjoyed that one. We're glad to be back, and we got some really cool stuff coming up for you guys. So next month, June, we are doing a bug month, man,
Yes.
and so we are doing Empire of the Ants, a great 70s made-for-TV bug film, and then we're doing a new bug movie called Infested that just recently come out. It's a French monster movie. Think Attack the Block meets Arachnophobia. This was that, Ruben picked Empire of the Ants. I picked Infested. I think there's going to be great movies to do next month. Pretty stoked about it. So June's going to be Bug Month. And then July, we're bringing you guys the month of Cage. And of course, when we say Cage, we mean the one and only legendary Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
And we will be doing his new film Arcadian, as well as his take on Dracula. We're going to do Renfield. Which should be a big blast. So stay tuned for those.
I can't wait for that one. I'm looking forward to that one because I really like that movie. I love
man.
that movie so much.
Renfield was an absolute blast. So, so if you want to check those movies out before we get to them, we're going to review them, have a great time doing it. And of course, remember to go follow us on Facebook, join the community, join the family, man. We have a blast 3 times a week. We bring you guys a bunch of extra stuff. We got the Underdogs on Mondays. Ruben brings the awesome music with the Monster Mash Wednesdays. Kurt's been helping us out with bringing the Friday night fights. And then just, interact with us. We got to, of course, go follow us on Instagram, and do please like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification on YouTube. Share it out with everybody so that we can get some more people, becoming part of the Monster Movie Stompdown. And again, appreciate it. And this is Sludge.
And the Lorax.
You got Ruben in Texas.
Y'all have a good night.